Welcome to all the classic car enthusiasts. So this video will be on just the minis, not just the minis I have in here, but the minis I've got down at in the lower garage, where we've put up a kind of temporary, long-term or long-stay storage tent. So what I'm going to do now is go through these bonnets that I've got for one is fiberglass, one is carbon fibre. And I'm going to make both these bonnets up for the track day car in case there's an issue. The fiberglass bonnet I was kindly given by Alex Hart because he's putting a steel bonnet on his car, and he managed to source his carbon fibre one for me, plus the carbon fibre bonnet, which I'll show you in a minute. Predominantly the carbon fibre one will be the one that stays with the car, but if there is any damage we can take the other one with us. When we paint the car in the Golf livery colours, which is the baby blue and the orange, we'll do both bonnets at the same time, and then we can replace them if we had to. Obviously the carbon fibre would be number one, and the fiberglass one would be the backup, basically, in case it's damaged or whatever and we couldn't carry on, if we've gone away somewhere and we couldn't carry on racing or going around the track. This is obviously the glass fibre bonnet. You can see by the weave in it and so on. This is the one that Alex was going to put on his car initially, and he had some problems with from the scuttle panel to the wing down here, which are quite difficult to fit. These particular bonnets are styled on the original wing, so that means that this returned edge for a larger wheel, i.e. the 13, will be too close and it will scuff or catch on it, especially with the track day car being lower on the suspension. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to actually cut this back, and to protect it what I'll do is use aluminium stripping both sides and probably pot rivet it both sides together so it entraps the gel coat and the fiberglass. This is a piece of aluminium I got from the scrapyard. I actually took it out of a scrap pile. There's lots of this stuff, and probably what we'll do is use that as a front to stop any dirt or rubbish going in front of the car, but certainly give us enough airflow. Unfortunately it's not wide enough for this one, so I'll get another piece. This one's already been pre-cut out, as you can see, and obviously that won't be wide enough to cover it. So, but we still have to come to a deliberation on radiators and so on for this track day engine. So you can see this one is carbon fibre. You can see the weave in there quite clearly, I think you can see, but it's got a gel coat finish on it, so it's not carbon fibre right to the outside. So as you can see, the headlights are still in. So my thoughts are to, because it's a track day car, apart from an exhaust test and basic stuff, it doesn't have to meet MOT requirements because it's a track car. It's not to go on the road. So I'm thinking about not putting headlights in here. What I'm thinking of doing is opening these up and making an aluminium trumpet, which would take a pipe or a hose down onto the front disc brakes, because obviously as amateurs, myself and Joseph, the other gentleman that's in with me on this project, we'll probably be using the brakes a lot more than we should initially. So to keep them nice and cool, I'm thinking that we could use this like a ram air system and push some nice cold air down onto the 4-pot calipers. There'll be vented discs to cool them down, grooved and lightened, and that might just help a bit more as well. So this is primarily the one we're going to use, and this one will be the backup one. But again, the same situation arises here, where they're not going to be, because they're designed on the original cars or the original wing. I will have to cut this out because the 13s won't go under there, and again I'll use aluminium to encase it. From what Alex tells me, it can get a bit raggedy, carbon fibre, when you cut it, so we'll have to come up with a method to clean that up or bond it in some way. So that's the initial idea. As you can see, the bonnet is here again. This is carbon fibre. I bought some quick clips. The holes were already put in this. This was second hand, and so was the front, obviously. So we've got a few bits and pieces. This is one of the things, again, Alex got for me, which is a main master switch. So you can see this is what's going to go on the car. Just bring it around here a little bit. In fact, I'll bring it here so you can see it better. Yeah, so that'll be the main master switch there. So you're going to have this is a key basically on off, which is to isolate it, the engine start, and your 3 master switches, which will all have a neon light on it. So you can basically flick your switch up. In fact, they're all off now, so you can just lift them up, put your switches on. And the reason I've gone for 3, this is how they come, but the reason we've gone for 3 is one will be the electric water pump, because it's not a mechanical pump on this engine. And the idea of that is because it's dry decked, it means we can leave the water pump on when the car's not running anymore and still circulate the water around the head and around the block. The second one will be the electric fuel pump, and the third one will be the Kenlo fan on the radiator. So basically the 2 together we can keep on. We can turn off say this is the electric fuel pump for instance, we can turn that one off and leave these 2 running after the engine's stopped and it's on its cooling down period, because this is when they tend to crack, these heads, because they've been so highly revved. They're extremely hot, and then now there's no water. The water's stagnant because it can't go around unless the engine's turning over. So this will hopefully alleviate that. We'll have water going round, and the Kenlo sucking in cold air hopefully at the same time. So that's one of the, and I've got a new fuel tank. Well, I say new fuel tank, it's a second-hand tank from Bolt, from Mark Draper's car, and a bunch of rev limiters and things like that which I need to pick up. So there we are, and I'll go through the rest of the stuff I'm going to do to the shell in the video. So there we go, there's a start anyway. Yeah, quite pleased. So these are the new wheels and tyres I've put on from Mini Sport. They are 12 by 6s, and the reason I've done that is because when I go to get the turf, or this is the first test after this car coming from the UK, to get it registered in Austria, and I think it's the same in the UK, you're not allowed to have any tyre or any tread sticking out beyond the arches, and as you can see there, now they don't, and same in the back. And I actually think the 12s, I was talking to Max about this, and I actually think the 12s just fit that nicer in the arch. They just look nicer than the 13s. The 13s look a bit too fat and aggressive, but they're illegal, that's the main reason they got changed. The other slight advantage is with being 6 instead of 7, the width of the tyre, it does make it easier to steer when it's stationary. So I'll take you around the other side, which I haven't done, and you can see what I'm talking about. I think you can see quite clearly there how much sticks out from that. I wouldn't get away with it. The back, you could get away with it, but certainly not in the front. There's no way they'll pass that. And you can see here, you maybe just a little bit on the back, but I think you'd pretty much get away with it. So, but you can see here physically the difference between a 13 by 7, and that's a low profile tyre, and the 12 by 6s. So they're basically exactly the same wheel, the same style as wheel anyway. So these Yokohamas, they're going to go onto the track day car for the wet, and the ones I have upstairs, the medium and soft compounds, will be for dry track days. But you can see there the difference. It's quite a huge difference between the width of the tyre, or the footprint certainly, that it has on the ground. Here we are down in the lower garage. As you can see, I've still got this jig front and back on it. I need to actually pick up the stands, which is actually that gives it the rotisserie. It's being used for the other XK at the moment, but it's coming back soon, so I can put this back on it. One thing I would advise before I go over what we're going to do with this is, if you're going to use a jig to repair any floor panels or any panels where there are stress point, and most of the things on a Mini, very much like an E-type Jaguar, all the panels are integral to each other for its entire strength, for its total strength. And I have said this before because I know from my own issues, my own problems, that unless you have a bar, solid bar going from front to back, these quick rotisseries are okay for small repairs and so on and so forth, but if you do anything major, or major structural repairs or major panel replacement, you need to put something from the front to the back. In my particular case, I have an oblong box section that goes from front to back, makes it extremely rigid, and you can see the difference if you try and lift this and then put the bar in. These will come front and back because there's not much purchase on them, and it means the shell is taking all its own weight. So if you're doing any major stuff, make sure you either use the roof or turn it upside down onto a roof rack type deal, you know, with a pallet and some casters on it, or alternatively, if you make a jig, have a bar from front to back. Now that could be a tubular, as long as it can't compress or it can't bend. That's what you need to go to front to back. Otherwise, you will stress the body. And a lot of guys have found when they're using these jigs that are being sold in the UK, because they don't have a bar from front to back, they're getting problems with putting the floors back in. The shells basically being askew slightly, and it only needs to be a mil or so, and you take that over the length of a Mini, which is only 10 feet, but 8 feet, whatever it is. It's going to make a lot, but only go from front to back. That twisting in the shell is massive. So what we're going to do, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this front piece off. I've undone the bolts at the bottom. I just need to undo them completely and take it off the toe board so that I can cut the front of this car off. The reason I'm cutting the front off is obviously because I've got these. I've got the carbon fibre lifts front and a backup fiberglass front as well, for easy maintenance to the engine and lightness, of course. And these wings are brand new, and so is this front. In fact, this front still even has a sticker on it. So I'm trying to get these off intact so I can use them on the 1970 Mini, because they have no repeater holes in them, and they're heritage as well, and they're in very good condition. Unfortunately, the scuttle on here is fairly bad on this side, so I'm going to have to repair it anyway. So that's the plan, to try and take these off, and what that means, is slowly picking off these plug welds all the way along the wings. It may be that I have to damage the A-frame. The A-frame, the A-panel on that side is very good condition, but there's a lot of bad work in the A-post which needs repairing, and the A-panel on this side is not particularly good, so I might just cut through them and replace them, as it's the cheapest item of the front of the car anyway. So I might just replace these A-panels and just cut through them just to save some time. But I will have to unpick all these, plus these inner wings will be coming out. So yeah, I'll do some footage. I'll probably do a speed up of taking this off, because it's not that interesting. And when I start to cut the wings off, I'll do that in real time so you can see what's going on. So hopefully you'll watch these series of videos where we basically turn this shell into a track day shell. So there's quite a few modifications going to be done to this car. As I say, it's going to have the carbon fibre front. What I will do here is I'll take out around 18 inches of this centre console. I'll take this out and build a box section that goes inside the car where the Weber 45 DCO carburetor can sit. But it's the engine build that we have, it only has one 45 on it, but we could have two, and so this will future-proof it if we want to put two and change the manifold on it. The other thing we're doing, which is unconventional, is I will be here making a vent, an air scoop vent, and I'll build that with the English wheel, so I can wheel it so it's a nice shape. I might make it just upright, we'll see how it goes, but I've got the bending machine. I also have the beading machine, so I can make this. So basically there'll be a hood sticking up here. The idea of that is to get ram air into the trumpets on the Weber. So you can imagine at this height the air's still reasonably cool, it's fairly clean, but it's being pushed into this. There tends to be a vortex here anyway on most windscreens on cars, but it should push into there. I'll make a circular aluminium kind of dam, if you like, so that it hits it and all the air is being powered, cold clean air being powered into the Weber, which should give us, as I said, a kind of ram air effect. And so that's the job that's got to be done. The other job will be on here. This car has a sunroof, which obviously we can't use, so we need to fill in this sunroof. But what my intentions are to do with this is to build another scoop almost in line with this one, but this one will only be to allow cold air or cooler air into the car before you start the practice, or while you're sitting, or on your cool down laps, whatever. So the idea is there'll be a completely flush aluminium plate in here which I can push up and allow which will basically fill the scoop. The scoop will be up here. It will fill the scoop up and all the cold air will come into the car for the passenger and the driver, or just the driver, whatever. And then you can pull it down and lock it off so that the air can come in and straight out of the back, so it'll be kind of like a round shape like this. You sometimes see them on rally cars. So that's the idea, because it gets very hot here in Austria. We have, in the summer, we can have 35 up to 40 odd degrees, 42, 43 degrees. It's really, really hot. And so this is a thing to try and make it a little bit more comfortable inside the car when you're not actually driving. Because obviously you wouldn't have it up when you're trying to get speed up, because you're going to create one clean bulkhead ready to go. So as I said, what I want to do, because they've been quite well put on these, I want to keep all these welds in place. So theoretically what I'm going to do is these inner wings have to come out anyway, so I'm going to cut the inner wings up this edge. I'll do a secondary cut afterwards, but a basic cut up here. So all I have to do is take out the spot welds, or the plug welds along the top here, and I can take the whole thing off in one shot, and then I can use the stand to clean the spot welds up to take the inner wings out, because there'll be new inner wings in the other car. Then I can get to the bulkhead, cut this out, take this top roof out, the sunroof out, and replace it with a scoop in there. And I'll show you this over a period of a few videos. So I hope you'll watch in and come back and see us and watch the build of the track day car. So stay safe, keep the faith, enjoy your hobby, and join us again for the next one. Bye for now.